no question that they really needed it. And so they sat down at the table and wrote 3 letters of apology. Mr. Samsa to his supervisor, Mrs. Samsa to her client, and Greta to her proprietor. During the writing, the cleaning woman came in to say that she was going off, for her morning work was finished. The 3 people writing at first merely nodded, without glancing up. Only when the cleaning woman was still unwilling to depart did they look up angrily. "Well?" asked Mr. Samsa. The cleaning woman stood smiling in the doorway, as if she had a great stroke of luck to report to the family, but would only do it if she was asked directly. The almost upright, small ostrich feather in her hat, which had irritated Mr. Samsa during her entire service, swayed lightly in all directions. "All right, then, what do you really want?" asked Mrs. Samsa, who the cleaning lady still usually respected. "Well," answered the cleaning woman, smiling so happily she couldn't go on speaking right away. "About how that rubbish from the next room should be thrown out. You mustn't worry about it. It's all taken care of."
Mark it.
Mrs. Samsa and Greta bent down to their letters, as though they wanted to go on writing. Mr. Samsa, who noticed that the cleaning woman wanted to start describing everything in detail, decisively prevented her with an outstretched hand. But since she was not allowed to explain, she remembered the great hurry she was in, and called out, clearly insulted, "Ta-ta, everyone!" turned around furiously, and left the apartment with a fearful slamming of the door. "This evening she'll be let go," said Mr. Samsa.
Mark it.
But he got no answer from either his wife or from his daughter, because the cleaning woman seemed to have upset once again the tranquility they had just attained. They got up, went to the window, and remained there, with their arms about each other.
Mark that.
Mr. Samsa turned around in his chair in their direction and observed them quietly for a while. Then he called out, "All right, come here then. Let's finally get rid of old things.
Mark it.
And have a little consideration for me." The women attended to him at once. They rushed to him, caressed him, and quickly ended their letters. Then all 3 left the apartment together, something they had not done for months now, and took the electric tram into the open air outside the city. The car in which they were sitting by themselves was totally engulfed by the warm sun. They talked to each other, leaning back comfortably in their seats, about future prospects, and they discovered that on closer observation these were not at all bad, for all 3 had employment, about which they had not really questioned each other at all, which was extremely favorable and with especially promising prospects.
179.
The greatest improvement in their situation at this moment, of course, had to come from a change of dwelling.
Mark it.
Now they wanted to rent an apartment smaller and cheaper, but better situated and generally more practical than the present one, which Gregor had found. While they amused themselves in this way, it struck Mr. and Mrs. Samsa almost at the same moment how their daughter, who was getting more animated all the time, had blossomed recently, in spite of all the troubles which had made her cheeks pale, into a beautiful and voluptuous young woman.
Mark it.
Growing more silent and almost unconsciously understanding each other in their glances, they thought that the time was now at hand to seek out a good, honest man for her. And it was something of a confirmation of their new dreams and good intentions when at the end of their journey, the daughter first lifted herself up and stretched her young body.
Now, notice in that last paragraph, Gregor is mentioned for the last time, but he's only mentioned in a cursory way. Now, the way this story ends will trouble some readers, because they're like, wait a minute, if Gregor is actually a human being that got turned into a bug, and then the bug died, well, it's still Gregor, right? And to that degree, doesn't he deserve a little bit more respect? Again, the point here is, it isn't clear that this is a story as much about Gregor as it is a story about Gregor's family. And what happens by the end? Notice how the father starts to take over control. You know, tells the 3 men they have to leave. Think about the story of the Odyssey. Notice that in the second to the last line of this story, the word journey gets used. And in some ways, of course, Kafka is playing around with that idea that Odysseus comes back home to Ithaca and all these suitors are there, and these 3 guys that are now thrown out by the father. The father is clearly taking charge. Notice that it's only after the brother dies that sister is finally seen as what is the line beautiful and voluptuous. Voluptuous means fully grown into a female body as opposed to being just a little girl. In other words, it's almost as if the father and mother for the first time see the metamorphoses or the transformation that is happening specifically for their daughter. Blossomed is the word that gets used. All right, let's now do a quick annotation. Level 1. It's a long story, but not so long. I mean, you can summarize the story easily in a line or two, can't you? It has a definite beginning, middle, and end, doesn't it, right? So jot down really quickly how the story unfolds for you. At level 2B, at level 2A, themes and messages, what do you think is the central idea of this story? To what degree are we playing around with our Unit 2 outsiders and outcasts topic? To what degree are we playing around with the theme of being misunderstood, or the theme of transformation, metamorphoses? What are all the different transformations or metamorphoses in these stories? Start to list them. And this is, of course, a theodicy. We, of course, in 303 have our big five. That is to say, what does this text say about epistemology, what you can know, ontology, who you are, psychology, the study of the individual mind, of course, sociology, the study of the group mind, think about the family, and then finally the question of theodicy. Why must there be pain and suffering in the world? And what can we do about that pain and suffering? Go back, for example, and notice how many times suffering is referenced in the text. What exactly is being said about suffering and the suffering of others, and whether it can be understood and appreciated or not? When we get to our senior year, we'll do an Auden poem called Musée Arts, which argues that honestly we never really pay very much attention to other people's pain. It's almost like a line from T.S. Eliot's Wasteland, the way the sister thinks about the death of her brother's bug body. Well, that's done and I'm glad it's over, is the line from the Wasteland. Which leads us to 2B, how the story is told. Notice that the story is told from multiple points of view of perspective. Sometimes it's Gregor as a bug. Other times, of course, it's this omniscient narrator that's telling us all these different things that are going on. The characters that Kafka will present to us. Kafka himself had a very interesting relationship with his father that I'll let you guys research on your own. He didn't get on very well with his dad. He saw his father as this really dominating kind of man, very similar to the father by the end of the story. Finally, at 3A, I want you to write down Kafka's classic story, The Hunger Artist. And I want you to challenge yourself to go and sit down and read it. And then I want you to make some comparisons to this story. Notice how many times the word hunger gets used in this story. What are other texts that come to mind for you? We mentioned the Odyssey, of course, and the way in which this is kind of like a journey story, much like Dante and his Divine Comedy and the journey through the underworld and Purgatory and Paradiso. What are the other titles that come to mind for you? Watch this, if you were to turn this into a movie, which has been done, how would you do that? What specifically would be the things that you would focus on in the story itself? What kind of music would you as well play along with to make this a film? Finally, to own a text like this, how do you feel about the characters? So I'll ask you in order. How do you feel about the sister? How do you feel about the mother? How do you feel about the father? And of course, finally, how do you feel about Gregor? To what degree do you identify with any of those characters? And to what degree does this text challenge you to want to go back and read it again to see what you missed? I hope so. Thank you.